Broadcasting live from sunny South Florida and the best way to start your Saturday. This is KMA Talk Radio. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of fine cigars. And now your KMA crew. The man with the scoop, William Cooper. Alex the Goat Tavella. And always telling it like it is, Honest Abe Dababneh.
I like to smoke them like the Winston Churchill. Like John Kennedy, yeah. Remember Coach Red Auerbach, smoked up for victory, yeah. Well, you can take my wife, you can take my car, but you can't take my big cigar. My cigar. Yeah.
Good morning, folks, and welcome to KMA Talk Radio. This is episode 579. We are on the march to 600. Yeah, every week I see it, I'm like, man, we're getting close. But we have a rule here at KMA Talk Radio, and that rule is if the show starts and you see me on the screen, it means one of two things. Either Abe's out of town or Abe can't get his computer to work. In this scenario, Abe is actually out of town. He's up in New York City. But stick around. I promise I'll be nice, and I got some pretty cool people to hang out with me this morning. So let's get him in here. Up first, of course, our dear friend, the man who's always rumor and teaser free, William with the Scoop Cooper. Cooper, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
And our dear friend, spilling in as co-host this week is the lovely Jessica Schaefer Brandt. Good morning.
Good morning, Jess.
Morning.
And what is going on, folks?
It's good to see Abe getting a nice, restful weekend with Brandy. Hope they're having a great time.
I'm sure a lot of pizza will flow.
Yep.
A lot of pizza will flow.
What timing, though, right? Like Summer of Saka just kicked off, and he's
in typical Abe fashion. He like messages us. What was it, Thursday? Oh, by the way, I'm
by the way, I'm out of town.
I'm out of town this weekend.
I mentioned it, right? I don't think so, but it's
that's funny.
Yeah, but listen, all the hard work is up front. So, now that it's Summer of Soccer is officially live, it has begun. Abe can take himself a weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Well deserved for both of them. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yep. Yeah.
So, Jess, is this Kevin's same setup as well? This is the new studio setup?
Yeah, this is pretty much kind of his setup, yeah.
I see Kevin's newest acquisition in the back. He's got, obviously, one of the things that we just loved at the trade show, and I saw he had a video up on this, the Room 101 humidor. So, wow, yep.
I can't lie, it is really nice. I thought he was crazy. I was like, why are you buying this? But
no, it's really nice.
So here's the question. You've had it, about a week, maybe 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's been like almost 2 weeks. Yeah.
Has it been cracked yet, or is it too nice to? I didn't think so. I didn't think it's still too nice to break up.
He did. He pulled all the cigars out and put them in our humidor.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. So all of them are gone, and then he split them because he's only keeping some, and then he was probably going to sell some. To get some return back on the investment of all of that.
At least somebody was
not cheap,
But I have to say that burgundy it's beautiful.
It really is.
It's a beautiful color. Now the teal is really neat too. If you want to be a little bit more bold and bright, like that teal one is really nice.
There were a lot of great stuff at the trade show, and I think Abe and I, it was kind of funny how we both agreed that was one of the top things at the trade show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely.
I feel like this was like kind of under the radar too. You didn't. A lot of times you'll see Matt Booth posts even like blueprints and construction like this. Suddenly this thing appeared. It was. I feel like it was on nobody's radar.
It wasn't. Yeah. The and there was a lot of high profile at the Fuente DuPont releases and all, but this one made it to market. Is what I'm just gonna say. So this one actually, obviously they have it now. So some of those other things haven't come out yet.
So, Coop, do you know how many non-numbered ones that they're doing?
That I'm not sure. I got to be honest. I only thought they were numbered ones.
That's what we thought too, but a few people have received ones that aren't numbered.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. So I was just curious if that was something that they had talked about, because I couldn't find any information on that.
No, I don't know either, and it doesn't surprise me. They probably had more demand for those than they made.
Yeah.
Because yeah. I didn't know that. I gotta be honest, I didn't know they would. And I don't know why they wouldn't just add numbers after 101, but that's what they did.
Yeah. I guess we lost Alex.
We might have lost Alex there, but we'll obviously keep the show going there. As far as that goes, so I actually, as far as that humidor goes, I think those calibras really, how they laid the calibras out on the top was really the best thing that they did.
Yeah, and honestly, like, if anyone's curious, like the seals on the drawers and everything, it's sealed.
Okay.
Like it's a pretty well constructed humidor.
Yep.
Long term, I'm not sure with the top with the coffins, like how well preserved that would be, because the seal on top, it's there, but it's not as of a suction you would want. But the drawers inside here
yeah, that is just, look at that. Yeah,
they are. It is.
It's very
really nice.
Yeah, and for folks who don't know, those colors represent each of the anniversaries from Room 101, from the 10th through the 15th.
Right.
Yep.
Just really well done piece.
Yeah, and then what he's going to be releasing them, right? Like throughout, like keep re-releasing the cigars. I think is something that was said.
Yeah, like ongoing. Yeah. So, Alex, Jess was just telling me that they did more than 100. It looks like they're doing more than 101 of these now. That there's going to be non-numbered ones of these coming out.
Yeah, that's what I heard you guys. So they did what, 101 of these?
Mm-hmm. Of the numbered, yeah.
And then now they're doing non-numbered ones.
Well, I think even in Half Wheel it did say that there would be some that weren't going to be numbered, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many or like how often they'll be releasing that.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
So,
but there was, like I said, there was big. I mean, I remember we had the conversation with Abe, we were saying they didn't make enough of these.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing too.
It still works, I guess. You got the original 101, and then
But see, I think people think like the value would be less. Absolutely not. Like there's no way having that little numbered one really makes a difference. It's the cigars. It's the cigars that you're getting in there that other people are never going to get.
Sure.
Like, so your value is still there.
And how many cigars?
Oh, geez.
Is it like 60 or?
I want to say it's like 126.
Yeah,
like, I think there's
quite a few.
I think there's 20 of each of the regular ones in the drawers, and then there's the 6 calibras.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I mean, and what was the thing, like $2,500?
There's give or take.
So even whatever in that $2,000-$2,500 range, there's several other companies that release something like this, same packaging, same amount of cigars. It's a $10,000 box. Several companies.
I agree.
So for as expensive as it is, it's actually really.
Look, Kevin's chiming in $2,500. Yeah.
20. Yeah, that's what I thought.
It was a bargain, actually, if you think about it.
Yeah, you getting 100 cigars, Culibras, never seen before in that beautiful box. No, it was.
It's actually the craftsmanship on it is real. It's really stunning. It's like pictures and stuff just aren't going to do it justice. Seeing it in person is like when I saw it in person, I was like, oh yeah, it's a lot nicer than I thought it was.
Well, I'd expect that of Matt Booth, considering he has the jewelry background. You know what I mean? Of something of that, I'd expect him. Not to put out something cheap.
No, definitely not. And you got to give it to Matt Booth. And we pick on STG a lot, right? At times, but that acquisition, I think, has been one of the better ones that they've done over the time I've been covering them.
In the past couple of years, they've made 2 big acquisitions. We keep talking about one brand. We rarely talk about the other brand, unfortunately.
It's unfortunate,
Why that is, I don't know. And part of it is maybe, Matt Booth is still out there, Matt Boothing, but Room 101.
Well, I think it helps that he puts himself out there consistently.
Yeah,
I do.
And he takes time with anyone and everyone. There's no, he doesn't go and be like, oh, I'm just going to be selective of who I engage with. He engages with everyone.
You know, when this acquisition happened, I know he reached out to a lot of people one-on-one to just kind of make sure, that was going to be the case. And I respected him on that. And it wasn't just lip service. So I got to give him a lot of credit on that.
Got to give a ton of credit too to Dave Mealy, man. I mean, he's really taking the bull by the horns. And I get to talk to Dave, especially. We've been doing a lot. Dave is just, I feel like he's just not content to be, hey, General Cigars, legacy brands, we sell a gazillion Macanudos a year. No, Dave is not willing to just be that. We are a live, thriving brand, and we'll show you how. Yeah. And and he's got good people around him, and he's got people like Matt Booth. Unfortunately, the other company we were talking about is Alec Bradley, who's kind of like fallen to the wayside. Unfortunately,
I have some hope for Alec Bradley this year.
Me
because
too.
I think the new release that they're coming out with, this Do Not Disturb, was well done, and I had a chance to smoke it. So I'm gonna put a little faith into it that I think they may be turning the corner a bit with that.
Do you think though, Coop, that there's some burnout there, like that they just feel a little like just burnt out?
Wow, I never thought of that. That's a good point. That could be a good point. Yeah.
I just saw them at Big what was it, Whiskey Fest? Big Smoke Whiskey Fest up in Tampa, and like it's always great to see them, but it's almost like just kind of like tired. Like a lot of people just seem tired.
I'm gonna say the thing. And I can say the thing because I'm like only half in the industry now. None of them like doing Whiskey Fest. They hate it. They hate it. It's the truth.
Do they?
It's the truth. They can't sell anything.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
And Whiskey Fest, and I've been to Whiskey Fest, and it's not a lot of interaction, man. It's a lot of.
They have to check a box with this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, they got to check a box. They know, that there's an investment. It's an investment.
Yeah, we only have gone because Hector from Casada Cigars has always invited us, so we've always gone. And we don't drink whiskey, that's not like what the appeal is for us, but it's like going and seeing some of the manufacturers and stuff there. But it's very much like you're cattled through with your bag and your ticket, and you hand them, and
that's kind of the thing too. Great smoke aside, there's not a lot going on after that.
Yeah.
Which it helps that a lot of times they're in casinos because at least there's something to do, but there's not a lot, and maybe that's part of the process, right? We don't have a lot.
I will say the food that is served it's near the pool side. They have a band. It's very well done that way, and the food is really great, and they have like all that, but like we're not there for the whiskey, so we're not getting that full whatever effect that other people are getting.
Yeah, I could tell the same thing when when I went to the Whiskey Fest, the one down here at the Hard Rock down here, and immediately I could tell, I'm like, okay, so they're utilizing the restaurants from the casino with the food, and the food it's great. And if you're in a venue, especially you're in a venue with high-end restaurants and good restaurants, you might as well use the home field advantage, and they do it well. But it's just missing. There's nothing after. You just kind of stand there. Okay, let's go play blackjack. What else? What else is there to do after you make your rounds?
And I think that's one thing I pointed out in my recap of the Great Smoke this year is that there is so much more going on at this event. It's not because you get your cigars at the door. What's next? Well, there's a lot of what's next at a Great Smoke event, and I think that's why that event has become what it's become. And you guys aren't afraid to change it up every year. I mean, and that's key as well. It's not stagnant.
No, agreed.
And what's funny? It's not even a what's next. It's actually become okay, great. That's out of the way. I don't have to spend an hour and a half going to get my stuff, and then I can partake. Got my stuff. I can partake in all the what's next going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Kevin wants me to tell you guys about the desserts at the Whiskey Fest. So the first year we went, they had this this huge display of any kind of like fancy dessert you could ever want. And we were just like blown away. So this year, that was the first thing we hit was the dessert table before we did anything else. We like stocked up on all the different desserts, and people were like, "Oh, that's smart." I'm like, "No one's touched it yet. No one's breathed on it yet." Cause it's like an open display. And then we just stocked up on that. But yeah, the desserts are really good.
Yeah.
They do the food well.
Yeah. When they used to do that event in New York years ago, and when I was living up in New York, and it used to do it in December, and it used to be a big week in New York for cigar events. People would come in and they do that they do this, the CA thing. But there'd be events all around the city all week. And then unfortunately, the way things went in New York, the event went away and those surrounding events went away. But it was always a fun thing to that week when they were up there.
Yeah, New York's a tough place nowadays, huh? Do anything really.
Yeah, I mean, where Abe was smoking is one of the best places, though. And I think I know where he's smoking. And I saw him turn down John McEnroe going in there once.
Really? Yeah, he was at. I think he was at Carnegie last night. Right?
Yeah, Carnegie. John McEnroe had sneakers, and they wouldn't let him in.
Oh. No.
And he's like, and we're all telling, like, let him in. They wouldn't bend the rule. They would not bend the rule for McEnroe. Yeah.
Hey, man. New York is
an
New York.
Icon, and he's an icon in New York.
Sure.
Is what I'll just tell you. Yeah, beloved. Yeah.
They wouldn't let him in because of his sneakers, which probably cost more than
for sure.
Cleanest pair. And I remember they were the cleanest pair of sneakers I ever saw. I mean, there wasn't a spot of dirt because I was not far from him when it happened. Yeah. And they would not let him in. And there was he didn't make a scene or anything like that. But
there were probably a pair of John McEnroe's, no less, too.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Coop, do you do Charlotte Cigar Week?
I haven't, and the only reason why I haven't is every week they have it is usually the week we've taken a vacation for our anniversary, because it's right around my anniversary. So I have not done it, but they didn't do it this year. They didn't do one this year. I think they put it on hold this year, and it's coming back next year. So I'm hoping I can get to do it because I do know some of the folks. They do a great job. That event's become a good event for our city. It's done a good job of educating a lot of smokers. It's definitely increased a lot of the female smokers.
Yeah, Kevin went one year and said it was really. I think it was maybe the first year or second year that they did one. He went and he said it was really interesting and worth going. Like he could see it going somewhere.
Is that the Carolina event that you? Is there another one that you go to, or is this the? I know I've heard you talking about.
We had two in Carolina for a while. There was Queen City Cigar Fest, and I think that's when Abe went. And then there's Charlotte Cigar Week, and they were both very good events.
Gotcha. Okay, I thought there was another one.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Like, also like this, all this supporting, cigar lounges around there. They all get together and they do different like events at each place, and restaurants get involved, and it's kind of just really good for the community itself too.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not a meet the stars type of event. It's not that. But what Jeff said, it's a community event. And what I've really seen come out of those events is how Charlotte's become a great city for women cigar smokers. It absolutely, I've seen it grow in the last 4 or 5 years. Terrific. And it's wonderful to see that.
I'll agree with that. I met a lot of women who, when we went to Black Smoke Miami, they came from Charlotte, from Atlanta, and I was just like blown away. I was like, never seen that many women cigar smokers in one place. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah, and what's wonderful is they're of the leaf. Whether your sister or brother, they're in my opinion, they're just smokers, and that's what's great about it. To see that. Yeah.
Does Black Smoke Miami still go on?
I don't think so.
No,
I haven't.
I know
heard
they had.
anything.
I know TK. I know he had his partners and they had some issues and.
And he's a great guy, and like I really was hoping that he'd be really super successful. He's got a great personality. Really, had like a passion, but I don't know what happened. But I haven't heard anything about Black Smoke Miami in years.
Yeah, I'll still catch TK once in a while. Yeah, I got it. If I'm heading to Cayocho, there's like a 70% chance he's hanging out somewhere down there. So so
they were really. I actually stayed at the Host Hotel, which is the old Don Shula, and they were really nice to me. I didn't know the event was going on. They were inviting me to stuff, and that's like I said, the Don Shula Hotel, which is now the Miami Hotel, great place for your cigar person because you can smoke on the grounds there, and they're very friendly about it. So. I used to see them at the host. Nice. Yeah, it was nice to see them at the host. They were and it was a good event. Caldwell, I know, was big on that event. Robert Caldwell.
Yes, Caldwell was big on that event. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. He was always a big sponsor of that event. Any events coming up? What's the event schedule? I mean, it's summertime. I would.
What are we? I was looking. Yeah, we're in summer.
I went to a Drew Estate event last Friday. I didn't talk about it last week. But it was because Metallica was in town. Craig Cass coincided an event the night before the Metallica concert. Now, Hetfield wasn't there, but Rob Dietrich was there. They got about 250 people. And what I was really surprised about is I know Craig Cass's events, and he draws a lot of people, but they got a lot of people going to the concert to come to this event who weren't regular cigar people. And it was very interesting to see them like wanting to learn about the cigars and enjoying the cigars. And, Rob Dietrich was very accessible the whole night. Christine Morgan was there. Josh from Druid State. So they did a good job with that. And Craig's one of the best event guys in the country too. So he knows how to put on an event.
Yeah, I had a couple friends who went to that concert, and I was just like, oh, it would have been awesome to attend. But I'm glad that there's that platform too that's bringing maybe non-cigar smokers.
Right, because that's supposed to. That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah,
you have like a band like Metallica tied to it. That is the goal.
Yeah,
well, because you have all these other famous people that people have seen in the past smoking a cigar. Maybe they don't really think much of it, but music, like going to concerts, there's like a different kind of connection and that you have access to, right? And then they do meet and greets like a lot differently than when you see like a golfer, like Michael Jordan or something, smoking a cigar. It's a little different. So Metallica, I could see bringing in some cool stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, it was to see it. Like I've gone to Craig's events, and I know a lot of the regulars, and they were there. But there you had these other people that were just not regulars, and the feedback was they want to go to more of these events. So I think that's a very good thing when you can cross over. And no, you didn't have James Hetfield there, but the event I think did its job, which was a key thing.
And that's the both parts worked in that scenario, right? Where we got people from the concert to the event, and the event was actually good. Cass puts on good events, so it's not. I didn't come to the concert and what is this? It was a good event so both parts worked, and hopefully you get some of them people to come back now. Because they had a good experience their first time coming to some type of cigar event that they never experienced before.
Yeah.
Craig's a genius, right? So most of his events are ticketed. Okay, you pay $15, and you get 2 cigars, and they drink with it, and so you get more than your value with it every time. Sure. And I see, ticket events are tough to pull off. They're very tough to pull off, but he has a great venue. There's good deals there. One other thing that Craig does that I like is there's always a presentation. So the guests, he always does a small segment up at the microphone with the guests who are there. And people love that. So it's like I said, it's more than I call it more than the tablecloth and a lot because they do a lot of again, it's an event, which is what I like about it.
Ticket events are hard, right?
They're very hard.
But that's a perfect scenario, right? We have special guests. We have special guests coming in, special cigar. And I'm going to take the guesswork out of it for you. You're $15, you go or whatever it is. You're going to get your cigars. You don't got to go into that big scary humidor. It's all going to be, you've never tried. You're coming from the concert. What is this? It's $15. Here's your cigars. You can drink. We're going to have, stuff going on. Hang out. Have a good time.
Yeah, and Craig,
so that's a scenario where the ticket events is a little easier.
You walk in and Craig greets you and he presents the cigars to you and he'll tell you a little about the cigars. Every person coming in there. It is very well done. Like I said,
well, I think do they are the cigars coming in like a bag with like some other stuff like stickers and all that stuff? Like sometimes like that also is inviting too when you get like almost like a little bag.
Like a little kit.
Right. Yeah. With cutter lighter.
At times he's done that. This one didn't have that, but it was okay. I think that is nice because what I like about that, Jess, is after the event, you have something from the event, even if it's a sticker, take it back. Mm-hmm. It's something that's a little memento. It's something that's going to be persistent as opposed to a cigar. You're going to smoke it. It's going to be gone. And all you have is the band left. So I kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well done. Well done.
Are you guys doing anything though exciting this summer?
I think I'm going to New York 4th of July weekend right now, which is where my mom is, and I haven't been up there in 3 years, so I think we're doing that. Otherwise, we're not doing a big trip this year, so I'll be at the home base most of the year. Next year we'll do a big trip probably.
Nice.
Yeah, we just bought a house.
Yeah.
I
feel that. I feel that.
I mean? Yeah. So
you're like our exciting summer is here.
Yeah.
Right.
We may be going up to Columbus, Ohio. My son Peter just graduated the Air Traffic Control Academy in Oklahoma City.
Nice.
So he's going to be working air traffic control, which is all I can tell you is it is one of the toughest things. It is a very intense program. When I was talking to Nick Perdomo about it, I didn't realize even how tough it was. So that's a big.
That's awesome. That's
a
huge achievement.
And they need people right now. I told them so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always take a trip up to the Jersey Shore at the end of August too, and that's always fun. So
you go with his beach tags.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, Marissa's parents are locals, so they have all the beach tags, and it's so funny because I spent most of my childhood in the Jersey Shore at Wildwood, who doesn't do the whole beach tag thing.
No, Wildwood doesn't have. Well, Wildwood is bougie, in my opinion, compared to like going to
Wildwood's bougie. Yeah, you got how's like at least the beach, you got to pay to get on the beach.
Well,
yeah.
We did Brigantine, which didn't need them from what I remember, but Avalon, I was escorted off the beach. So
Margate, you need the
I got escorted off the beach in Avalon. Very. Let's put it.
Yeah, I laugh.
Currently,
my sister still lives up there, and a bunch of my other family, and they go to the shore and stuff. But it's always like basically there's a sign that says like you can have no fun. Welcome to New Jersey. Sure, you can have no fun because it's like no, you can't have this. Like it's like huge billboard at this point. Like you can't do crap.
Yeah, the Avalon piece. I left it back at the house we were renting. That was the problem. It wasn't. I just forgot it, and they still escorted me off. Yeah.
Yeah, we spend most of our boardwalk time at Ocean City. It's still just one of the last good, it's one of the last old school. It's a dry town, so it's still good with a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old. There's not really riffraff on the Ocean City boardwalk.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's nice. It's always nice with kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's our. What about you? You got plans this summer? You guys going anywhere?
No, probably not. I mean, I'm going up to New Smyrna to go visit a friend. A good friend of ours has a condo that he lets us have for like a week right on the beach. Nice. So like, and this is a friend of mine from high school. Like we grew up together. So like he's coming from Colorado and a couple other people, and we're all just going to hang out there for a couple days. And then I am trying to get out to Colorado because his son is about to have his like 2nd birthday, and I haven't like really gotten a chance to go out there and see them in that environment. So I'm trying to do that, but it'd probably be just me. Like a short trip,
a little quick one.
But yeah,
Rocky Mountain is the big event this summer. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it now because I'm gonna be down in Miami the first week in September, so it's kind of gonna be tough to do both of those.
That might be what I'll try to aim my timing. Maybe I'll try to like time it to go there when. Right.
When is that? When's Rocky Mountain?
It's usually mid August, so it's like around the 15th.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard nothing but great things about that event. When I hear the events in the country, it's Rocky Mountain and Great Smoke are the two that always come up.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of
people I agree.
Yeah, I've never been, so that might be something I'll try to strive for. I could maybe get Kevin then to come with me.
Yeah.
Because it will be about cigars.
Yeah, no, that's a definite, and I've heard just wonderful things about that venue. It's up in Boulder, which I've never been to Boulder. I've been to Denver a couple of times, but yeah.
Yep, August 16th. August 16th.
I was pretty close. Yep, yeah, one day off. Yeah,
that's not bad at all. Yeah, so, but yeah, no, this summer is like a little weird because this is Wyatt was my last to graduate high school, so he just graduated. And like, I feel kind of like we don't really have anything exciting going on. It's just kind of like, meh. I think it's just a calm. It's like a calm.
Yeah,
it's a good
okay. A little calm's okay once in a while.
Yeah, we got 2 out of the house so far. So 2 are still at home. So, so we have a little bit, but it's a lot easier now. My wife and I, if we want to go somewhere, we don't have to worry about like getting anyone watched, which makes it a little easier.
Right, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But it is weird. Easy. It's weird when you don't have to like focus on like, you know, kind of like their academics and like in that sense anymore.
Right.
Like once they're like passing, you're like, okay, I can breathe a little bit. Now they're adults. Like now it's kind of on them. You make your mistakes. Like it's on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Absolutely. What's everybody smoking this morning? While we're here, just occurred to me. I didn't ask. What do you got, Jess?
I'm doing the Red Meat Lovers. I think it's the filet mignon one. Yes. And then I have a little polpetta if I
sock it up. Down. That has begun.
Yeah, I felt like it's, you know, summer of Saka. I had to represent.
True.
What do you got there, Cooper?
I brought up something special today. The Don Pepin 20th anniversry.
Oh, very
nice. I was gifted a box of these from our good friend Jay Davis for Christmas last year. And with a year of age on these things, they're smoking really good now. So I've seen a big change in there. You know what was amazing about this? They came in a humidor, right? And I put a Boveda pack in that humidor when I got it, which was the end of 2023. And I write the date on it, right? That I have the original Boveda pack still in that humidor.
Really?
It's not dried out. It's that good a seal on. You talk about a seal. That seal was incredible.
That's a seal.
Because I actually was like, well, I haven't checked this in a while. I should go check it. And then when I checked it, I was shocked. The Boveda was very much intact. And I pulled one out. And it's great. So I'm happy. With
solid.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
solid. I'm actually having a McAuliffe Black box press smoking exclusive this morning. I just love this cigar. You know, I like the round, and the box press is just in this McAuliffe Black. That box press is just a totally different smoking experience compared to the round.
I see a lot of people are really digging the blue, the McAuliffe blue. Like that seems to be a lot of people's like maybe midpoint for them.
Well, it's good. It's good and approachable. It's not that strong. It's not that heavy. It's a good approachable cigar.
I agree. I think that one is. I just got the purples, so I haven't smoked the purples yet, but I did finally get them.
Oh, okay.
But what happened? I didn't cover them as Calic moved to the trade show. The other guys did, so they smoked all those cigars. So
it's a shame. Some people caught it, but a lot of people didn't realize because that purple, it is kind on the band, on the box, it's distinguishable, but on the band, it's a little less distinguishable. And I only saw a few people caught it. If you purchased a Great Smoke ticket, you had first crack at the McAuliffe purple. You know, that was in the TGS pack. And most people didn't realize. They looked at it and assumed it was a blue.
Yeah, and then what happened is I gave mine to because Tripp had a guest ticket. I gave mine to Tripp. So I said, "Hey, you take the cigars."
You assumed it was a blue, right?
Yeah, but it was the purple. It was the purple. Yeah,
right. It was the purple. A couple people noticed because I seen people post it on the back. It said purple. Yeah. What the hell is this?
Well, I didn't get to go because I was deathly sick.
You were
so I'm
sick, right?
I'm gonna have to raid Kevin's. And see if it's still there.
There's a purple if it's still there.
Yeah,
if it's still there. My luck, it's probably not.
Well, green is coming. That's not a secret. They had the box at the trade show, and they've been talking. The green is coming for the open house.
That should be interesting.
Yeah, yes. I'm not gonna be able to make the open house this year, but I have gone in the past. It's a nice event to go to.
I hear it is a good event. They do well with that. Those guys got it together, man.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say is if you're gonna go out there for it, Fort Worth is a great cigar town to just go to, and Fort Worth is the big city close there.
Yes.
And where McAuliffe is, they're west of Fort Worth, and it's like this classic Americana city. It's a nice little city just to walk through. It's called Weatherford, and they have a cigar store there as well. So you could, there's a place to smoke, but it's got this like Main Street USA vibe to it, Weatherford, which I really enjoyed it.
Oh, that's neat. I have not been out anywhere in Texas, like ever, and that's on my list to do. Is kind of try to hit some places, but we'll see.
If you ever make it out to McAuliffe, just make sure you ask them to show you the silicone operation as well, which is on the same complex.
Yeah, I think because Kevin went out there. I think
that makes sense, especially with all his 3D printing, and he's into one. I would be surprised if he didn't.
Yeah, he went out there and like they had like lunch for him, and they did some other stuff, and then the Phoenix Cigar Group had him over. He did stuff with them, and then And I think that's when he did the Savage Feast or something out in Texas.
Oh, out there, yes.
Oh, yeah. So he did like a whole couple different things, but he said the McAuliffe place is just it's amazing.
Yeah. No, they run a hell of an operation, both sides, Cigar operation and their silicone operation. They run a hell of a ship.
Super cool.
Yeah, Jay Davis took me to a place in Dallas called Chamberlain's, and what's great about it's a steakhouse. I would say it's still an upper echelon steakhouse, right? But you could smoke there.
Oh,
there's an area where you could smoke indoors, and there's nothing like having a good dinner and a cigar. So it's one of the few places. And the food is excellent as well. I'll say too.
So let me ask you though, like, do you like when you have gone to places like that? Like, because I'm sure there's others. Like, I know even like for us, like here, smoking and like being around like food and smoking, does that bother like either one of you ever? Like, if you're somewheres and you're trying to eat and there's smoke.
So the answer for me is no. I grew up in a family of cigarette smokers, so I've always been tolerant of it. However, I can see it. I can absolutely see people not liking it.
Same thing. I could see it too. Unfortunately for me, I spent 7 years working at smoking. I eat my lunch at my desk, so it's
you're inhaling. You're inhaling as you're eating.
Yeah, so I don't even.
But I think the ventilation at some places, like I've been to even just say like lounges, and they are doing like a little cookout, and they want you to come for an event. And you're trying to eat, but yet you're like being smoked out because
your eyes are burning. That's a whole different.
You're like, but I mean,
Typically, I don't like smoking while I'm eating. Right? I will have it before and after.
I agree. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm not smoking while I'm eating.
I just find
so you're not doing what Kevin does with like his, little pizza things that he does and that he smokes in the morning. I can't do that either.
Me neither.
No, it's tough. That's tough for me. Yeah.
I mean, first, just to begin, too, the nicotine is an appetite suppressant. So I'm half eating a meal, half suppressing my appetite as I'm taking in nicotine. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I'm saying before, preferably
but I
after.
see other people doing it. They eat while they smoke and maybe drink. Like I could maybe have like a cup of coffee or tea with like maybe a scone or something.
Hence the origin of that cigar that you're smoking right now is made to be smoked while eating a steak.
It is. I find it great after a steak.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just again, I get more enjoyment out of it. But if someone enjoys having it while they're eating, more power to them. You mentioned the ventilation, and that's a key thing. Like I said, when I was in Dubai, I went to an Italian restaurant where there was a smoking section, but it wasn't like separate, like wasn't closed off. And no one was complaining about cigar smoke because the ventilation was so good in this place. That was the key. The ventilation just kind of feeded everything out.
You know what's really baffling to me? Italians, especially coastal Italians, tend to have a longer lifespan, right? They're known to live older than these. And the whole damn country smokes cigarettes.
All of them.
All of them,
and they're unfiltered. They're
how do we correlate this?
I can't tell you how many cigarette smokers came up to me, particularly when I was in Venice smoking they had an outdoor area. How many people asked me for a lighter who were cigarette smokers? It was amazing. Yeah,
the whole damn country smokes cigarettes.
Yeah,
and they live longer than most. Go figure.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I didn't know that. Alan Rubin said that in the Monte Cristo Cigar Bar at Caesar's Palace in Vegas, they have a private room where you can smoke and have food. Interesting. I mean, I went there, but we just stayed in I guess they're not their private section.
So,
sorry.
Alan probably hasn't been there since he worked for Altadis either, but that's another story.
So no, actually, I think he was out there when he was with McAuliffe, actually. Because he was telling me about the one at Paris. The
one in Paris.
Yeah.
That one's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. But in Charlotte, we have a place called Tailored Smoke. It's a lounge, and Fleming's Steakhouse delivers to the lounge, so you can order anything off the Fleming's menu. It's right. A short walk in the shopping complex, and they bring it over, and you can eat there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I guess, and you probably pay for it too. Like, that's
sure.
It wasn't a huge
experience.
It wasn't a huge premium on top of it. I think there was a little bit, but it wasn't a big deal. Yeah.
Well, I will say I was definitely sticker shocked regardless when we were in Vegas. When we went to the Monte Cristo one in the Paris, oh my God.
The taxes the taxes are high in Vegas. So
I was like, I could be smoking 6 cigars for the price of this just one cigar that I'm buying. It was intense, but great atmosphere, beautiful lounge. I mean, it is very top notch.
Right behind the strip, there's a great place our team found called Cigar Box. It's a bar, lounge, and big humidor in there. And the customer service there is just top notch. It's just off the strip, but we have absolutely made that our home base now for smoking. Okay. Yeah, it's called Cigar Box.
I'll have to definitely have to check that out.
Check it out. They have a lot of rarities in there too, like some old La Flor Dominicanas and stuff like that. So it's a place. It's been around for a while. They're owned by the Fry guys. Who I think operate several. I think they operate. I know a few other lounges in Vegas on the strip.
Nice.
Yeah, I've never ventured off the strip, unfortunately, and that's one thing next time I get out to Vegas, I have to get off the strip.
Yeah, we rent the house there, which is key. But I think the other thing is we found Cigar Box because we needed a place for everyone to meet, like coming in from the airport. Right, so that became, we said, hey, this is a place you don't have to worry about, we didn't have to deal with everyone's luggage or anything on the strip. It was a small shopping center where we were able to do that. That's how we found it.
Yeah. I think the nice thing about being like close, like on the strip and stuff, is because you can get anywhere on the train. You don't need a car. You don't need to take an Uber or anything. You could buy a pass for like $12 for the week and just take the train everywhere. There, you can pretty much get anywhere.
Yeah, is Casa Fuente toast?
Yes, it's closing.
Right? No.
It is closing. I can tell. Yeah, it's definitely closing.
I thought I saw that.
I don't know if there's something that's going to resurrect though. That's part. I haven't been able to get that out of Carlito, but I wouldn't be surprised if something resurrects there.
Okay, it's not a smoking thing.
It was a lease thing more. It was part. You know what happened? They had because they had the store, and then they had the outdoor, not the outdoor, but the outside the store patio.
Right.
They closed the outdoor. I keep calling outdoor. The outside the store patio was closed.
It was indoor, but it was outdoor.
Yeah.
Right. That was a big thing, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say though, like with all the smoking that goes on in Vegas, cigar smoke should be the last thing that people are worried about. Where you walk everywhere, it's just marijuana everywhere. So all you smell is weed.
I know.
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's got a lot harder to smoke in Vegas. And I hear you can smoke on the casino floor. A lot of people don't. That's the idea. Like, if you're smoking a cigarette, it's good to smoke on the casino floor. But when you're smoking in social settings like cigars, it's getting tougher to do that. And I've been going there for 20 years, and I've seen it change.
Yeah, we met, we did smoke at it was in the casino, but in a bar, an open bar area.
Those are okay, and those are
it was still a little iffy.
Yeah.
And there's minimum
I'm just
drink
not the
orders
guy.
now. Yeah.
Right. And I was not the guy that's gonna go sit at a blackjack table. Nobody's smoking. We're all sitting right next to you. I'm gonna fire up my big cigar.
Exactly.
I'm just not gonna be that guy.
Yeah.
Listen. Atlantic City's even weirder with the smoking. They want it out, which is insane to me. It's like the only thing they have. It's like only because the city is a dump completely. The casinos are becoming run down
it's
at this
sad.
point, and they want to get
Once
rid of
upon a time they had cleaned it up, especially when they redid the boardwalk.
Yeah,
it kind of looked nice there a little bit in the late 90s, early 2000s, and then it's just really gone downhill. It was crap when I was a kid, but somebody had come in and really cleaned it up at one point.
The one place that's still really good in Atlantic City is the Borgata, and that's off the boardwalk.
Yeah, that's on the marina side.
Yeah, and that's what led my father to get his place in Brigantine, which is the city north of because he couldn't smoke anymore and enjoy it, so he just ended up getting a place in Brigantine to do that.
Yeah, I haven't been to Atlantic City in forever. Ugh, I can't even imagine.
So obviously, when we're up there, it's all right there for us, and it's one of the few places you can smoke when you can smoke. There's no smoking anywhere in Margate or any of those, as far as a lounge or anything. No. There's very little in that area. But even I was sitting at Tropicana, sitting at the bar lounge. You couldn't even. You can sit at the bar and smoke a cigarette, but you had to be 10 feet back from the bar to smoke a cigar. For some reason, I don't know.
Yeah. New Jersey's definitely gotten tough to smoke in as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not
unless you're smoking something else, then you can,
Yeah, they don't care. Yeah,
because the entire state smells like weed. The entire state. The entire state.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. So I mean, and I've kind of gotten to a point where I don't like to smoke a cigar if I see a lot of kids around. I just don't want to.
Me too.
Yeah.
Why?
I get that.
I get that. I get that. So
yeah. Oh, and it's like a more of a family-friendly environment. That makes it a little tough, right? But when you're strictly kind of around adults, and you're especially out in the open, like the open air, sometimes I don't care if people are smoking. But when you're in like more of an enclosed space, that's nonsense.
Yeah, listen, just because I can do something doesn't mean I have to. There's courtesy involved in certain situations.
So like here in Florida, like Siesta Key, like you smoke on the beach, like cigars, they're really like everyone loves that it's very open in that way, because smoking is banned from like a lot of places, especially on the beach, but Siesta Key lets you smoke cigars all day long, which is nice, and they have like a nice little restaurants right off, off the beach and stuff. So it's just more friendlier. Like they're very open to even with kids around and stuff. They're like, it's okay. Cause you're outside,
Sure. This brings up a good question. Not even on the legal aspect. Do you guys smoke in a car?
I do.
Yes.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, only because I still have a car seat in the back. Once that car seat's gone,
I would totally,
but only because I still have a car, so I don't want I don't want it to take up the smell. Once the car seat's gone, I don't care.
Yeah. Kevin's like, yeah. Yeah.
But
they make really good ozone cans.
Sure.
You pop that in. Sure. I mean, I swear by that. Like we use it, and it's like your car. It's like you never smoked in there.
They work great. The other thing is what I did when we went to New Orleans and we rented a car. It was bad. I mean, the smell was bad, and I do know there's all the tricks, but I'll tell you the most foolproof is I know, like when my son worked rental car. All they do is take that to the car wash to get the smell out. Like they do an interior clean. So when I got back, I did an interior clean for like $40 and it's gone.
Right. As opposed to the 200 they were going to whack you for.
Yeah. The problem I had was when I got back, it was raining for a couple of days. So the car washes were closed. So I almost was I was worried I was going to have to pay the fine, but I kept it a couple extra days and it was like $89 instead of like, $500.
Right.
Yeah. We've always smoked
makes sense to just keep
rentals. Yeah. We've always smoked in the rentals and then just popped one of them little
rental
cans the day before we're going to return it, and we're like, here you go.
But listen, I've picked up numerous rentals that smelled like weed when I got them in them anyway. So I'm like, the hell with you. You can tell me about my smoking.
Yeah. So I mean, I also do believe in returning the car how I got it. So
sure, of course.
So
definitely.
Yeah. So I'm not looking, I want to get
I just find it crazy that it's illegal to smoke anything in a car. Like,
well, no. That was with children. But that makes sense.
Children.
I think it should be. It should be. Dude, if you're smoking and you got your kids in the car, even outside of legalities, like, come on. You got stuff
I don't know. We grew up, like Coop said, he grew up in a
I know. I get it. Me too. Right.
My mom,
me too. I feel like we're
boxing us in the car.
We're in a different intellectual age of civilization than we were, in the 80s and 90s.
Seatbelts. What are seatbelts?
Yeah. My dad refused to wear a seatbelt till he died. He was so against that law.
Yeah.
And I'm a little notorious for not wearing it. I'm not saying it's right, but it's unfortunately I got bad habits as well.
It's a bad habit, right? No, I do it too sometimes until it starts beeping, and I'm like, "What is that noise?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm not wearing my seatbelt."
I've gotten nailed twice for a seatbelt by the police. I've gotten nailed.
Well, you know what's worse, and I probably shouldn't even tell you this, but they make the things on Amazon that you just stick right into the seatbelt thing, so the seatbelt assumes it's clicked, and you don't have to put the seatbelt on.
And it doesn't beep. It doesn't beep.
Yeah. It's like a little extra. You just click it in.
Yeah. I'll have to look that up. No,
Yeah.
but like that's usually like when I realize I'm like, oh shit, like it's beeping. So I gotta put my seatbelt on. But I do. It's just how you grew up. It's bad habits.
There you go. This guy, of course, the little Amazon things takes away the beeping.
Yeah, Kevin can't even drive. Oh, what do you have? Like yours is so smart it won't even start. Like it won't drive. That's weird. Like I didn't realize your truck did that. So if you don't have your seatbelt on at all, it won't even like go. Weird.
And that's one of those things, and that's a macro, freedom discussion. But like, why, why are you telling me that I have to wear, if I choose to not wear a seatbelt? Kevin's just smart. He's just, he's the smart one who wears a seatbelt in the car.
Yeah, there you go. No, that's
there's like, I just feel like there's a lot of dangerous shit that we can freely and legally choose to do as adults.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a seatbelt is like, if I don't want to wear a seatbelt, that's on me.
That was New York was the first place to do that, by the way, in 1984, and it was controversial, and it was very controversial. In fact, when that happened, my car had lap belts still. I didn't have shoulder belts.
Right.
So I had a lap belt, and I was, lap belts I had a 74 Dodge, and it had lap belts. They didn't have shoulder belts back then.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I know,
did it have, what do they call them? Captain chairs, or did it have the long
bench? It had the long bench.
Long bench.
You could get three in the front seat. Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That in itself, just driving three in one seat is so,
I remember my mom telling us we came home from the hospital when we were born, in a cardboard box that they put in the back seat. You didn't have car seats. Right. And when we were babies, she would just sit and hold us when they would have to go somewheres. I think about that and I'm like, can you imagine? Just
I'll give you one better. I'll give you one better. I remember sitting on my dad's lap while he was driving.
All right.
I remember that. Now, wouldn't dare do that today, but yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. If you didn't get pulled over
with a baby,
if you didn't get pulled over, everybody else on the road is calling the police on you.
Oh yeah, exactly, yeah.
True, very true.
All right, that's when they still smoked in the hospital.
Smoked in hospitals, yeah.
Waiting room,
on airplanes,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what a different time.
Yeah, very different. Yep.
It's so bizarre, it's weird when you do come across places that are still kind of like that. We went to Kentucky one time and we stayed in this hotel that I swear was literally still in the 60s. Never changed. None of the furniture had ever been changed.
I love those.
Or the shower or anything. And we were
I'll seek out those type of places.
Yeah. It wasn't clean. I'm not going to, it wasn't the cleanest place, but it was so nostalgic. And then we were driving their back road areas and stuff. And there was an estate sale at this motel that had those big, huge neon light, that had it's just crazy. The amount of old stuff that they had in there. Kevin and I found some really neat stuff, but I was just these places don't exist often,
right.
You just kind of stumble upon them.
Sure.
They're so cool.
Sure.
It's walking in the past. So neat.
Yeah. Right. I there's two states that come to mind that have a lot of hotels like that: Arkansas and New Mexico. They have a lot of those types of old school 60s hotels, motels.
Love that.
Yeah, I do too. And the ones in New Mexico are quite clean, actually. The Arkansas was another story, but New Mexico is very clean. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely cool to come across.
New Mexico, probably that old Spanish style.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. They're good type of places. It's good to find those type of places.
It is. It's a little different than a chain, yeah.
And especially,
some of them you can
right. And nowadays, when you find those type of places, you almost have to visit because you don't know if they're going to be around, man. There's some big developer plotting on that piece of land. No matter where it is.
Well, that's true. What we noticed when we were driving. How many hotel and motels that were on that drive that were just shut down, condemned, getting demolished. So you're right. It's you kind of have to cherish those moments when you come across them.
Well, even, you see it. I even see it down the shore, like Wildwood, all the old, the Sandpiper, the Buccaneer, those old, whatever family owned them motels for 100 years. They're gone, man. They're gone.
Yeah.
Them old school, pull up at 3 a.m. The lady sitting in there in the window to give you your room.
Yep.
That's
very true.
We got some Britney Spears humor by tickets. Britney Spears got in trouble for driving with her kid unsecured, and then said, "Did she tell the cops? Oops, I did it again."
Good, Brian.
That is funny. Go. I love it.
There we go. All right, folks. Well, we got to take a quick break, run a couple ads, and we'll be back in a few minutes. So don't go anywhere. Keep it lit.
Honest Abe here with the GOAT to tell you about Smoking's Cigar of the Month Club. Alex, tell our fans out there why our club is the best darn club out there.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you why. Because every month I personally handpick 5 premium cigars. No filler, no fluff, no fugazis. These are all premium handmade name brands that you can find in any brick and mortar store in your area. All delivered to your door for $34.95. And our average monthly retail value since the inception of our club has been almost $57. Another great feature of our Cigar of the Month Club, Alex, tell them about the ease of our Cigar of the Month Club. I'll tell you, I hate subscription services. It's always a pain to cancel them, turning them on. We've made it super simple. All you gotta do is log into your account. There's a little green button there. If it's green, you're active. You want to take a break, you're going out of town, simply hit the button and you'll deactivate your membership. Want to turn it back on? The exact same easy process. You can turn it right back on. We've made it that easy for you. Another great feature is our Double Down Club. Alex, tell them about the Double Down Club. We had so many of our members reach out to us who really enjoyed our selections every month that they wanted to know there was a way they can get 2. And we've made that very simple. With a simple check mark, you can get double this great selections every month and save $10. Does our club have perks? Of course it have perks. You want to tell them about the perks? As a member of our club, every month there's a special discount code where if you like any of the selections, we will offer them to you, so you want to come and get some more. You can get them at a special discounted rate for our Cigar of the Month Club members. And finally, expedited shipping. Tell them how fast we get the stuff out, Alex. We get the stuff out on the 28th of every month. Our membership bills on the 28th, and we get every member's package out on the 28th if it's a shipping day. 5 great reasons on what makes Smoking Cigar of the Month Club the best club out there. Check it out. Peace. Hey, I really appreciate you doing the video with me. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. I mean, you didn't let me get a word in, but whatever. Well, great. It's perfect.
to win some epic
Welcome back, KMA Talk Radio. This is hour 2. I wasn't ready, but I made it work. Let me get the crew back in here. William the Scoop Cooper and Jessica Schaefer Brandt. Mm-hmm. We are back. Quick little break.
That watch, that purple, that grand prize that people could win for summer. Oh my God, it's such a beautiful watch. Oh.
Yeah. That watch is dynamite. Very nice watch.
I agree.
Very nice watch.
I agree.
Nice watch. You know, we talked about it. Last year. You know, how many times can you give away a 6-foot statue? You know,
right.
Half the time, soccer buys them all anyway.
Right.
You know, so what can we do to make it exciting? And you know, it was kind of a shot in the dark, but Accutron was like, yeah, we could make something work. So, you know, it's pretty cool. But we knew we wanted to do something new this year, and I think we did. You know, pretty big.
Oh, I think that was a great call. That those watches are freaking awesome. But that last one is, that is a sexy watch.
No, that is nice. And as a watch nerd, I actually got to play with them and see them in Abe's office. They are nice,
yeah,
well built, nice watches.
Yeah, they did one a few years ago for La Polina, and
right.
Really nice. Yeah, I saw them at the show.
No, they are very, very nice watches. All right, so we got some fun stuff to do this hour. As always, we're going to kick it off with a little Name That Jam, sponsored by Alba Cigars. I got a little something different. I got a little something different this week. We're going to do it a little different.
Okay.
Well, let's kick it off. All right, so this week I switched it up a little bit. Oddly enough, June 7th is an interesting day in music. Quite a few things have happened in music on June the 7th, and we're going to see if you guys know a few of those things.
Okay.
So let's get started. I have a couple questions here. On this day, 1958, one of the most influential and genre-defying artists in pop history was born. His groundbreaking work in funk, rock, R&B, and pop left an indelible mark on music. Who is that artist?
Prince. Oh,
that is correct. That is correct.
Got it first, though, but I was.
I could tell you knew it. I could tell you that wasn't.
I'm not going to Abe it on this.
Coop got it in there.
You definitely said it.
We can share it.
Yeah. I'm just glad I knew it.
All right, here we go. Next question. This band released their debut single, a cover of a Chuck Berry song, marking the beginning of their legendary career in 1963. 1963, their debut single, a Chuck Berry cover song.
Wow.
Audience, this is your chance.
Yeah.
This is your chance. 1963, this band released their first single, a Chuck Berry cover song. I'm going to give it about 5 seconds. I don't see anybody chiming in here. All right. Well, that band is the Rolling Stones with the cover of
Come
yes,
on.
Weston Allen got it a little late, but yes, with their cover of Come On by Chuck Berry.
I forgot. Yeah. I was thinking a little early for the Stones. That's why it was throwing me off.
But that's probably why, because that was something they did, right? To get
I think the Stones 66, 67. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Next question. This artist's variety show premiered on ABC TV in 1969, featuring performances by Bob Dylan and Joni Mitchell, showcasing a blend of country and folk music. 1969 variety show. I don't think Jim Morrison ever made it to a variety show.
I don't think he did either.
What is it?
Hee Haw.
What is Hee Haw?
Hee Haw is a
this
musical
artist.
Oh, it's the artist. I thought it was a variety show we were asking for. Wow.
It is the artist.
And it was with Bob Dylan and who?
Featured Bob Dylan, featuring performances by Bob Dylan and Joni Mitchell and showcasing a blend of country and folk music.
Someone's saying Johnny Cash.
And they are correct. It is the Johnny Cash show.
Wow. Okay. Good job.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah.
All right. Last question. This album, and I'm looking for album and artist, in 1975, you give me the artist, I'll take it, became the first album ever to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200 chart. A testament to his immense popularity. There your hint. It's a guy.
That's not a hit.
So, 1975, the first ever Billboard 200 chart comes out. This album debuts at number 1.
You can't give us like
a
genre? A genre?
It is 1975 pop rock.
Okay.
It might be
Rod Stewart.
Elton John. It might be Elton John.
It is Elton John.
Oh, nice.
Can we get to the album?
The album Captain Fantastic?
Cooper.
Nice,
Captain.
Coop.
I didn't know if it debuted at number 1. I was
Debut. Well, this was the first. It was the first number 1. I guess 1975 was the first time they released the list.
So it was very hard back then for that to happen. Today it's a lot easier because they used to base it on airplay as well.
Right.
Not now it's based more on sales, so it's a little different. So in streaming, so yeah.
Nice.
Couple of side notes. Notable birthdays June 7th in music: Dean Martin, Tom Jones, and Prince, and Dave Navarro. June 7th.
Oh man, I love Tom Jones, by the way.
Tom Jones. How can you not?
I'm a Tom Jones fan.
How can you not?
An old connection. Tom Jones covered Prince's "Kiss."
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
And kind of resurrected Tom Jones's career when that happened.
So not bad. You guys did pretty good. That
was hard. Some of it was hard, yeah, but that was good. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one a lot.
Sponsored by Abo Cigars, always making beautiful stuff that Abe says and things like that. Thank you, Abo Cigars. All right. With that being said, you're not off the hook, Jess. We have another little game we like to play around here.
Okay.
And we call this game, How Old Are They? So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to show you a picture of a celebrity, and you and Cooper are going to have to guess their age.
Oh, fun.
Right? Yeah, it's fun. This gets fun.
Yep.
All right. Coming up first, how old are they? It is Alec Baldwin.
Oh, he's like 67.
Cooper?
That's a good guess. I'll say 65.
So I usually do this by whoever's closest, and Jessica nailed it on the money. Alec
Good
Baldwin
job.
is 67 years old.
Yeah.
Good job.
All right. Coming up next, we have Kevin Costner.
God. 62.
Just goes 62.
I'm gonna
Kevin
go
Costner.
I'm gonna go 66.
Cooper goes 66. Cooper will take this one. The correct age is 70.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was 70. God.
He's getting up. He's still looking good.
Yeah,
good for 70. All right. Coming up next, Bryan Cranston.
So now I would say he's 70.
He's old. He's old looking.
He looks older, but he's probably not that old. I'm still going to say 70.
Jess goes 70.
72.
Cooper goes 72. And Jess takes this one again at 69. Good guess. She was unsure of the 70 pick, too.
Yep.
All right. Coming up next, who do we got? Tina Fey. The lovely Tina Fey. How old is Tina Fey?
58.
Jess goes 58.
I was gonna say it's interesting. I was gonna say my age, 57.
Okay.
Cooper goes 57, and Cooper wins by a point. She is actually 55. So you both were over. You both were a little over. Coop was a little closer.
Yeah, we're not doing the Abe rule, right? Because the Abe rule would throw him out.
Well, wait, Coop, you said 57, right? Jess,
you said
he said, I said 58. Yeah. So Coop wins.
No, I'm not doing that Abe rule. That Abe.
Right, Abe rule.
I feel like the closer that you are.
Over, under, you're closer.
Right. That's good. Yeah.
That's funny. He's like, throw it out.
Exactly. Yeah.
All the talk made me switch to a dagger for the second half.
Nice.
All right, coming up next, we have John Hamm. How old is John Hamm?
I'm going to say 60.
I want to say he's probably 57.
Cooper says 60. Jess says 57. John Hamm is actually 54.
Oh, wow.
Jess gets this one. You guys are aging these guys. Everybody's going over.
I know.
Right?
I feel bad about that.
You got to account for, like, all right, how much work has been done in there. Maybe it looks a little, you got to account for that stuff. You know, these people have the income to get major work done.
True.
All right. Coming up next, we have Lisa Kudrow.
She's in her 50s for sure. 53.
I'm going higher on this
53.
one. I'm going to go higher on this one, 61.
Oh,
Cooper nails it on the money. Lisa Kudrow is exactly 61 years old. Cooper nails it. All right, here's an interesting one. Eugene Levy. How old is Eugene Levy?
Wow, that's
60.
Tough one.
I'm going to go 75.
Jess goes 68. Cooper goes 75. Cooper correct. Eugene Levy is actually 78 years old. Talk about looking good for your age.
He does.
But he's been around a while. That's why. I knew he was around a while.
He's been around a while. Yes.
I was trying to base it off of like how old I know his son is.
Right.
I was like, he's not that old. So.
Right. All right. Coming up next, we have Ray Romano.
Oh. That's going to be tough.
What do you got?
61.
68.
61 and 68. Ray Romano is 67. Cooper lands a little closer here.
Yeah,
Ray
good
Romano.
job. He looks good too.
All right. And last one. Here we go. The Fonz. How old is the Fonz?
The Fonz.
86.
86, she says.
79.
Cooper nails it on the money. 79. I will say
79 though. I would have thought he was older than that.
The Fonz clearly has not had much Hollywood work done. He looks a bit 79. Also the oldest on the list, 79, followed by Eugene Levy at 78. I'll tell you, look at, good for him. 78 years old.
The Fonz has been around 50 years. The Fonz has
been around a long time.
He's been around a long time, the Fonz. Yeah.
I mean, literally, the guy's been on TV for 50 years.
Gosh.
Good old Henry Winkler. Yeah, that's always just a fun little.
That is pretty fun.
Yep.
Fun games we like to throw in here.
Exactly.
Yeah, Eugene Levy. I was surprised when I saw that 78.
Yeah, like Tina Fey though. I agree. She does look older than 55. Sorry, Tina Fey.
That's an older looking picture too.
Yeah,
I try to.
Her hair.
But glasses make her look younger.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah,
that may be helping him too.
Yeah,
it covers up a little bit of the wrinkle. Covering it up.
You folks probably don't remember how big the Fonz was.
The Fonz, even as a kid, and I didn't get to watch it. Like
it was
the Fonz.
The Fonz was the Fonz. It was big. I mean, and the whole thing about him eating vegetables was a big thing going on. The Fonz ate his vegetables, and it was like almost this thing.
The Fonz ate his vegetables.
The Fonz would eat his vegetables for But the Fonz was very big.
I just remember that's when everybody wanted like leather jackets.
Sure.
Like, was, to be like the Fonz.
That was a show my dad loved because he loved 50s culture. And then I always say, they always talk about Fonz jumping the shark, right?
Yes.
And they say that's when Happy Day. I think it was when they burned down Arnold's is when it jumped the shark, and Arnold's drive-in became this like diner almost. And I'm like, this ain't Arnold's.
This ain't Arnold's.
This ain't Arnold's. I don't know why they decided to burn down Arnold's, but lost a lot in my book with that.
Yeah.
And the good old Fonz.
The ironic thing is, Laverne and Shirley became the more successful show, is from what I understand. It actually had
really?
It actually was the higher rated show as time went on. That became, and it was always on after Happy Days.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the show I know my dad loved, like
Lenny and Squiggy.
That's really what it became. It became more about Lenny and Squiggy. And then they jumped the shark because they moved from Milwaukee to California, and I think that killed the show as well. Yeah, it was not the same when they went to California.
You gotta love those '80s sitcoms, though. You know, they were just what a time, what a good genre. You know, Three's Company. Those you know, still adult kind of type sitcoms from the '80s and '70s.
It was back then. You know, network TV was, you know, network TV is not the same anymore. No. You know, it's completely different now. Where most of the shows now we look at, they're on demand, not even cable anymore. Now it's on demand. It's becoming.
Has either one of you watched the Pee Wee Herman documentary?
Oh, I haven't yet, but I want to.
Oh, we just finished it. Definitely interesting.
You know, when I got married, there was a bachelor party for me, and I did get tanked. Okay. And I fell asleep in my parents' basement. They had a furnished basement, and my sister's a lot younger than me, and there was a TV down there, and I'll never forget. She was watching Pee Wee's Playhouse when I woke up with a hangover, and I am not a drinker or anything, but it's to this day one of the worst experiences I ever had. Waking up to Pee Wee's Playhouse.
I was obsessed with Pee Wee's Playhouse. Like, I think it spoke like volumes as like just being a weird kid. But like as an adult going back, and then when I was watching the documentary, you know, he filmed himself like when he was in college.
I gotta see this.
It's crazy the way the documentary is, and then it shows like the birth of, you know, how he got to Pee Wee's Playhouse and stuff in the movies and everything. Right. And I've forgotten so much, but like how adult like almost all of that was. And as a kid was like, you know,
of course,
way over your head. You just thought, oh, this is normal-ish.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so not. But how many
Mecca Lecca High, Mecca High Me Ho.
I know how many famous people started on the but it was at like a
Lawrence Fishburne was the cowboy, wasn't he?
Yeah, yes. And like all these people, like it was just really interesting to see the way that they progressed versus how he did, and like the stuff that obviously happened to him in the media and stuff. But so crazy. It was interesting. Was it a great documentary? Not really. I mean, but there was parts of it that I'm like, that I didn't even remember. I was like, holy cow, it's crazy.
When did he die? It was only a few years ago he died, right?
It was
only
2023.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
When he was doing the documentary, like he didn't even tell them he had cancer. Like,
wow.
He never even mentioned that he was sick. So I guess he was battling it for like 5 or 6 years or something. And then he just kind of died. Very sad.
I mean, again, he wasn't that old. I want to say he was late 60s maybe, which is not that old.
And he looked good. And he's even going through all that. Like you would have not have looked at him and been like, oh, he's sick, you know?
70. He was 70. Yeah. Okay. July 30th, 2023.
So it's less than 2 years ago. That wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't that long ago.
But the place that his house is beautiful. Like beautiful. He was like, he had a green thumb. Like he had like this whole landscape where these wild animals basically come every day, and he could just sit and watch them and stuff, and he could see part of the Hollywood sign, like just a beautiful landscaped, you know. And his house had like all different memorabilia, but he had a warehouse. It's like a museum. I don't know what's happening to all his stuff, because he had collectibles like beyond anything you could imagine.
Oh,
like
wow.
Insane amount of collectibles of stuff. He was like a hoarder in that sense.
I imagine they'll do maybe some sort of a museum or something.
Yeah.
I found out recently they did an I Love Lucy museum in Jamestown, New York, which is where the Lucy character was apparently from, was Jamestown. And if you don't know what Jamestown is, it's kind of in the western part of the state, south of Buffalo. So
that would be really neat to go see.
Yeah, and I think they have a lot of the set stuff from I Love Lucy on there. I actually do want to go see that as well.
That is super
interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Paul Rubens managed to make a little bit of a comeback later in life, right? He got a couple parts when he was in Blow, right?
Well, yeah.
After he had a rough time with all the stuff he went through in the 90s and whatnot, but
it's tough to overcarry. The Pee Wee guy, Pee Wee's play. It's tough to overcome that sometimes.
Absolutely,
because he was so so stuck. Even go back to the Fonz. The Fonz had for a while had a. I think he struggled for a bit, but actually he went.
I think so. He fared better as an older man in a comedic kind of role.
Yeah,
exactly. Kind of found his way back in, but it's hard to break. It's hard to break.
When he was on Happy Days, he did a movie called Heroes, which was it was a dramatic role, and he was very good in it. Actually, he was playing it was a Vietnam veteran role, I believe it was. And I remember that movie. It was completely different because we didn't think of the Fonz as that type of character.
Right. And you could see, that it's hard. I think about he died, but after Sopranos, how hard is it to not see James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano, no matter what he plays in? Some guys, they just.
Yeah. Well, a lot of those characters, I think, had that problem.
Sure.
After that, I think Michael Imperioli did pretty well. He did a few shows afterwards. I think Edie Falco did well.
Yes. Fortunately, those guys they kind of all stayed in that kind of HBO realm. Got casted on other roles, different series.
Nurse Jackie, she was great in Nurse Jackie.
She was great in Nurse Jackie.
That was a completely different role for her.
But she's one that I gotta give credit. I feel like HBO kept their good core of actors running through, because she started. I want to say it was on Oz. She was on Oz, and then it was Tony Soprano's wife. They moved to Nurse Jackie, and you kind of see that a lot. They get their good actors and kind of run with them.
And Steve Buscemi is the other one who he moved over to Boardwalk Empire after.
Which was right after Sopranos.
Do you think it's important to you though that the feel of those characters are kind of the same a little bit to make them kind of get out of that other main character they were in? That has like an undertone,
so you kind of
how their mannerisms are, I think that kind of plays a part too. Like you said, like people were saying Pee Wee, someone mentioned Ernest. Like I can't imagine, them really being in any other kind of role. It's hard, to see them in a different role.
Yeah. Well, the guy who didn't really carry over was Tony Sirico, and you think about how great he was on The Sopranos. He just never had that other role. The only other time I see Tony Sirico was when he was on that Lilyhammer episode where he played the priest. So
right.
That was a very small role he had.
Yeah, what's a guy like him going to do besides that? He wasn't acting. He was literally, everything you hear is just playing himself on camera.
Do you ever consider Lilyhammer kind of like a sequel to The Sopranos? I always thought it was.
You can look at it like that. Sure.
Like because he was in that coma, and I always thought that this was like his dream,
like after the fact or something. Or you can definitely look at it like that. And it was a good series.
I love that show. It ended way too soon.
Yeah. No, that was a good one for him.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes it's just tough, man. It's tough to break out of those. I mean, listen, even Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro is essentially a comedic actor at this point. He kind of had to switch it up older in age,
right?
He did
to stay relevant.
Definitely.
I mean, he made his huge comeback was with I feel like with Ben Stiller. Meet the Parents,
Meet the Fockers.
Kind of was his big back and able to play as an older
actor.
And
he's funny, like he pulls it off, like it. Yeah, in a way that
in his old man kind of comedy, he plays that well. Which is a big swing from what this guy acted his entire career.
Mm-hmm. I thought he was great in that movie Midnight Run with Charles Grodin.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was that was one of his earlier comedic roles. Yeah.
Yes. That was a good one. Yeah, so he had it in there, but yeah, he's one of the guys that was able to later in life kind of cross over into different type genre to still stay relevant.
Rubin. Why does it always come back to Soprano?
Go watch Succession, Alan.
Why does it always come back to pub subs? I mean, people are what they are. Well, thank you, Alan Rubin. That is a perfect crescendo into the news this week. I know we have a light week, but let's see what we got.
A very light week.
Hey, yo, what's my theme music?
The Scoop with Coop. Breaking industry news. Hear it first on KMA Talk Radio and cigar-coop.com.
All right, Cooper, I know it's light. Apparently, the cigar industry took a week off. Everybody must be on vacation or something, but give us what you got.
Yeah, no. So there were two cigars that were shipped this week from PCA. We talked about the Dagger. That was really the big story, I think, of the week. But so we'll start off with Casa Carrillo, which is the company formerly known as EP Carrillo. Last year at the trade show, they unveiled a series of cigars called the Essence series, which is, I would say, a series of like $9 to $10 cigars that they've come out with. And they were doing different wrappers. So last year we saw a Sumatra Essence, a Maduro Essence, and a Honduras Essence.
Honduran, right.
Honduran. They have now, the fourth one has now been shipped. It's the Connecticut. So this is the Connecticut. And there's a lot of Honduran tobacco actually in this one. If you're going to get the wrapper binder filler, it's Connecticut wrapper, Honduran binder, and Honduran and Dominican filler. And it's coming in 3 sizes: Corona, Robusto, Toro. I'm kind of curious how this cigar is going to do, because they've had mixed results with Connecticut shade cigars over the years. They have, of course, the new wave Connecticut, which has been around. They had a great one called New Wave Reserva that they discontinued.
Oh,
which I thought was the best one. So this one's, like I said, it's more of a it's in a similar price point, I think, to the New Wave Connecticut's. Different blend for sure. The other thing I'll kind of tell folks is when they unveiled this series, they originally had 6 of them. So the other 3 were going to be the Connecticut, the Nicaragua, and the Cameroon. It's sounding like the Cameroon has been put on hold indefinitely because they use that wrapper for the Endure. So,
gotcha.
Which is a good cigar. I love that cigar.
And yeah, they only could get so much of that Cameroon wrapper. So at this, but I didn't say it was not happening, but it's been put on hold, is what I was told from Ernesto. So the next one is the Nicaragua, which I think that they may be saving that now for next year.
Makes sense. They're not a big Connecticut company, huh, Coop?
No, they're not. Like I said, he's done good. Those 2 other Connecticut's were very good, but in general, it's not what you think from Ernesto. When it comes to a Connecticut.
Right. Especially with all the ways they went with the pledge and the Historia, and none of them have been in the Connecticut world. It's not really what you think of when you think of Carrillo.
So Lizette is doing a cigar called the Silk, and they had they had test blends that they were giving to people, and I think there were 3 wrappers they were looking at. One was a Connecticut, one was a Habano, and I think the other one was a San Andreas. And it was the Habano that won, and that's what they told us at the trade show. It's called the Silk. It's going to be part of it's got Historia Silk, and it's Lizette's blend, and that's going to be coming out later this year. But I was surprised it was a Habano. I thought that would be.
Me too. It almost doesn't match Silk.
Silk, I figured everyone would go for the Connecticut, but the Habano was the one that won. Right. And I was surprised it beat out the San Andreas as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would, the Maduro, that seems like a stretch, but yeah. But if somebody asked a good question, because I'm kind of curious too, is the Casa Carrillo going to update their packaging?
They are not.
I hope not.
They told us no. They told us no. So the packaging is staying the same, is what they told us for everything. Whether they have newer packaging with the Casa Carrillo going forward, that's a good question. But at least this Essence series isn't changing, and the Perez Carrillos, which are like the last stories and pledges, are not changing.
Yeah, and do they have one called, what is it, the Allegiance or something? Or
the Allegiance is it's technically part of that Perez Carrillo.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not, and the inches aren't changing either. No. That's the other one, which is a big ring. So I was told they're not changing. Lizette told us that because we asked her that.
What else you got, Cooper?
Well, it wouldn't be a week if we didn't have soccer news, right? So, and Alex, you and I were talking about this a little this morning. So they have just shipped, and I believe it's part of the Summer Soccer package now, the new Umbagog Bronzeback. So they did a second size of this at the trade show in a 5x54, a 5x52 Robusto, which the other one was a 5x48.
48, right?
Yeah,
right.
So a little so this is a little thicker. It seemed like that this one kind of got a little overshadowed by everything that Saka did this year because he had a lot of releases. So this one kind of
and I can see that it's just a size. You know, it's an addition of a new size.
But this still was the consensus #1 cigar on Half Wheel, so it was a big release, which I actually thought was a real. By the way, I thought it was Umbagog Bronzeback's a really good blend. This is a 10 by. Excuse me, it comes in at $10.75. So a little more expensive than some of the Umbagogs, but he's using a better broadleaf wrapper on this called 2LS right there.
Right. And, I think this will, listen, it's Steve. Of course, it's going to do well, but I think it'll do well just in the fact that, 5x48 is a little smaller cigar. This one will have a little more beef to it. If the blend is in that same, realm, I'm sure, like me, I like a good 6x48. 5x48 is a little small. I feel like I'm going to smoke through it too quick unless I have the time. 5x52 is a good, typical Robusto size that I think should hit the mark with this.
I think this is going to quietly do well for him because I think this is a little more of an approachable size for people. They think they're getting a little more cigar from it.
Right.
Robusto is a more popular size, and that other one's kind of like a Rothschild size almost. So I think this one's going to quietly do well for him. It just may not get the buzz that some of the others, the Duque had. He's got the Jubilee coming out, so there's other things that I think are going to, there's the Furtaga. So I think some of the other ones will overshadow this one, but I think this is going to be a quiet hit for him is what this will be.
I think you're right about the size though, for people, especially with Dunbarton cigars, they tend to be a little bit on the larger side, which might be a little off-putting to someone who maybe is a new smoker too, so it's nice to have some variety in sizes like that.
One cigar that was interesting for our team at the trade show was the new Mi Querida that came out, which is called the Gorilla Gordo, which is that's that big 60 with the bullet cap on it.
Yes.
And Bear loved that cigar. Who does not like 60 ring gauges, and he smoked it, and he said that thing is really good. And that little cap, that the tapered head, I should say, made a big difference because it doesn't feel like you're smoking a 60.
Sure. No, it makes a difference. It makes a difference, which is why, I'm not a big 60 guy, but I don't mind the 60 box press at all. It just feels different.
I think this is going to be another quiet hit for him as well. Again, it's a line extension. It's not sexy per se, any line extension, but I think this is going to be another quiet hit, and I think it's going to bring people back to the Mi Querida Blue line, which was the original one.
So let me ask you guys this. Is there anything you're really waiting for right now?
Yes.
Me too. What about you, Jess? Is anything like when's this thing? When is this thing coming? What do you
not really.
No.
So all the
what
Fuente
are you guys
stuff,
waiting for?
all the Fuente stuff. How much I could get my hands on it, I don't know.
What's the Fuente stuff?
He has
the Opus. Oh yeah, it's not, but that's the problem. That's the problem.
Don Carlos. He's got the Don Carlos 90s, the Sangre de Toro, which is the Black Pinks. Those I'm waiting for. I don't know how many I'm going to be able to get my hands on with them.
Especially the Black Pinks. Those are
I
feel like those are already gone before they ever available to anyone. I feel like people already claim them.
Right. And that's the thing. And even for me, even in the industry, sometimes they're tough to, because again, I'm not going to be a pig and take it from a customer so I can have it,
Right.
But for me, it's the Perdomo Legacy. That's
now I've got my hands on those already, and they're really good.
Yeah. I got to tell you, Perdomo really jumped up the charts for me with the 30th line.
Yeah.
Now that even 30th line is good.
Prior to that, for me, Perdomo was, and to me this is a compliment, but Perdomo was Wawa coffee. It's not the greatest coffee in the world. It's not going to knock my socks off, but it's good. It's always going to be good. It's always going to be consistent. It's always going to be exactly what I expected it to taste like. And that's basically Perdomo across the board. It's always been that way for me. Yeah, I'll take no problem. But the 30th really, really jumped them up the charts for me. I mean, they knocked that out of the park, where I'm like, really, every day I ask Matt Briggs, when's the legacy coming? Where's the legacy? When's it coming? So that's one I'm excited about big time.
It's interesting because Perdomo, I see a lot of people smoke their the champagne and like the sun-grown one, which I always thought was interesting, especially the champagne one that they have. Like that's a fan favorite of a lot of people's.
Well, so it's interesting too, because the champagne is a big fan, and it's a big fan favorite with newer smokers. But Nick will tell you the champagne is actually one of his highest nicotine content cigars.
It's got some,
yeah. Which is that's why I always used to be like, look at people who were like looking for, we're just trying different cigars.
Right.
Like, that would not be a cigar I would recommend. But for new beginners, but okay. I think the lighter of the wrapper.
Sure, they buy the lighter.
People.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm like,
Legacy
lighter doesn't always mean less.
Yeah, Legacy is a completely different angle for Perdomo that we haven't seen before. They are very different cigars, is what I'll say. And I've now had a chance to smoke all three of the blends. So, and the Legacy Shade Grown is probably the most unique Perdomo I've had to date.
Really?
Yeah. They're supposed to ship June 23rd, I've been told. Like they've done some limited releases to certain stores in the country.
Sure.
But now
I did a big event with two guys.
They did it. Yeah. But that was actually our team voted the Shade Grown the top cigar of the trade show, but only three of us got to smoke it. So it was all three had it at number one who smoked it. The other three didn't have a chance to smoke it, but it still won number one on the points. So I think, like I said, it's very different. I also think when he reblended the 10th anniversaries a few years ago, that also was a big change because he used to have a champagne noir, and then the champagne sun-grown. Right. And then they replaced the sun-grown and the Maduro with new blends, and I think that elevated it a lot too.
Yeah, man. I mean, they are on a roll right now. I am jacked up for this cigar, and I know a lot of people are.
You guys won't be. Yeah, it won't. And actually, 30th Maduro was my number one cigar last year, which is an incredible. Like I bought two 30-count boxes of that cigar, already. Yeah, so it's very good, and I think they've done their social media has really increased over the last 5 years. You could see that as well.
Absolutely, and they put out great quality work too. Their video, they've really put out good work.
Yeah,
but Nick's a master at that, man. When it comes to packaging, branding, marketing, Nick is a master at it.
And they have the best factory.
He's got the product to back it up.
Yeah,
and his factory tours are incredible.
They really are. And there's questions of, Perdomo, we don't think of them as a boutique company, right? Because they do a lot of cigars, right? And I get that. Sure. But Nick is so hands-on with his process. That's kind of how a boutique guy operates in a lot of ways.
Sure.
So I'm not saying, whatever it is, he's very close. Like he'll know every aspect of what's going on with his cigars.
But that's good. I mean, but I was going to say, as far as like their consistency too, like with their packaging, like you go into a lounge, you're not confused of what Perdomo that is, like, because they are kind of similar, but they're not at the same time. Like you go and look at other brands and you get confused. You're like, wait, what cigar is this? They all have like the same, style, brand, but Perdomo like does a good job, like separating out how theirs looks.
Yeah.
And it's always nice.
That's a big, and they actually have a big thing on how they do their shelf presence. And that's part of at the end of the factory tour, they show you how they got to this shelf presence. They based it on the Coca-Cola model in supermarkets, actually.
Oh, that's cool. I did not know that. Because I always thought that was really nice how the presentation is of their stuff. Because, some of their bands could look a little similar, but the way that the box, the displays are, it even breaks down. It tells you also like the origin of some of the tobacco and stuff. Like it's nice to get that information too.
I thought Crown Heads did a really good job with their rebrand this year because it's going to have a similar vibe now. And when you see the packaging in person for those Crown Heads, you'll understand they're going to have a very good. Now you get like they had nice packaging. I'm not knocking it, but it was hard to tell the Crown Head section of a cigar shop And now when you walk in, it's going to be very different. You're going to be able to see the crown head section, and the colors just kind of differentiate a lot of them. But they all have a DNA of crown heads.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see that.
Yep.
Definitely.
Sorry, I'm back. Anyway, and somebody was at that's the only problem with having a home office. People at the door.
Yeah, I know that's like.
Yeah. I don't understand. So this guy just knocked on my door and asking about a black Nissan Versa that my father owned in like 2014 because there's a recall on it. I'm like, dude, like my father moved to Florida a month ago. How did you even find this? I mean, It's unbelievable. Wow. I get it all this. Oh God, it's the worst, especially just buying. I don't know if this used to be a thing, but I get knocks on the door. Water filtration guy, this guy. I'm like, how do you even know? How do you even where? It's just, what do you just go through? Like,
they're
public,
waiting.
they literally just go through public records. Oh, new sale.
No, I went through that when my dad passed.
It's like, my God, just send me a letter, man. Why are you knocking on my door?
Yeah, the worst we get here is solar. Everybody's trying to
of course, those solar,
and they're like 12 years old. I swear, the guys that come to the door, they either just graduated high school, and I just feel bad for them because we're like, no, like we don't even want to hear your pitch. Go away.
Well, here's what I really don't like, because a lot of them guys, I'll just be like, well, listen, how much is it? Well, I just schedule, and the guy's got. I'm like, dude, this is a buying question. How much is it? If you don't know how much is it, well, why are you even here?
Right.
Well, I just schedule, and then so you're telling me you're here knocking on my door, and I got to wait for another guy to come. Yeah. You'll tell him, then he can come and knock on my. Give me
what they don't tell you is like, because we'll put a new roof on, also. So that's all tied in to like your electric, all this stuff, and your bill. So when you go to sell that house, just say you go to sell that house, who owns the solar now? Because that goes through like a separate contract. Does that new homeowner now have to take on that?
Sure. Probably.
Yeah. So but they don't answer that. They don't answer any of that. And but all our neighbors who are like, 80 and older, all got after the hurricane, got the solar because they got new roofs on. I'm like, they're going to die before they ever pay that.
Yeah. They know what's the difference. Right.
Absolutely. It's like, they don't care, but we're like, that's not an investment. Maybe 20 years ago, if we invested, it might have made sense, but now it wouldn't pay for itself.
I just think they're ugly too.
They are
ugly too. They're ugly. Yeah, they got all them solar panels on it. It's just
see, Kevin said the new homeowners have to agree to take it on,
or you have to buy out the contract.
That's nuts. That would be a deterrent, I think, for someone buying a house who doesn't.
That would have totally been a deterrent for me.
Yeah.
Especially if we're taking on some type of added cost towards it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, with that being said, it is time for pick number 2 of Tail of the Tape, Top TV Dads. We only have 2 left. And as Cooper pointed out a couple of weeks ago, we will be ending this segment on Father's Day weekend next week. So this week, let's take it to number 2, Tail of the Tape. All righty. Tail of the Tape, Top TV Dads. We are on our number 2 pick. This season is almost coming to a close. Our good friend and host and fearless leader, Abe Dababneh, has made us a video live.
He did it.
He said, he sent it to me at 7 a.m. this morning. So I didn't watch it, but I'm assuming this is probably like a midnight type of video out in New York. So here we go. Let's see what Abe's got.
All right, Honest Abe here. New York City, 1:30 in the morning. You can see Times Square behind me. And I'm here to tell you my number 2 pick of Tail of the Tape Season 11, Best TV Dads. Once again, I said my picks are all dads that I enjoyed watching and coming in. And number 2 is Julius Christopher Rock from Everybody Hates Chris. This guy reminds me a little bit of my dad. He was loving, caring, hard working man. You know, just trying to make ends meet, raise his family. Loved his character, loved the show. That's my number 2 pick of this week from New York City. Honest Abe, checking out. Peace.
What was he doing wandering around New York?
Abe's a night owl, man. You know Abe. He was probably sending texts to people. I knew it. I knew it was probably a post-midnight. Abe's a night owl, man.
I didn't see Brandy, so she was probably back at the hotel.
Oh, probably. Yeah. No, like, Abe's a night owl. Abe will stay
probably went around for pizza. He probably went to try some pizza or something.
Get some pizza. But a good pick nonetheless. Julius Rock, Chris Rock. All right, I'll jump right in here. My number 2 pick, again, I've been counting down the best of the worst TV dads. Number 2 pick for me is Tywin Lannister, Game of Thrones. This guy was a terrible dad. He was awful. He was cold and ruthless to his children, but he does teach a lesson in the importance of family name and family legacy. That was his one clear mission in life, was to further and uphold the family name and legacy. I mean, listen, you take away the ruthlessness and, war and murder. This guy could be a Padron or a Fuente. They are the same way. Every decision that they make is with the family name and legacy in mind. Hopefully not quite as cold as him, but with the same focus on family. So number 2, Game of Thrones. Copa.
I went with the quintessential TV dad. This one is Mike Brady from the Brady Bunch. Mike Brady was the problem solver. He would give you that advice. He would the lessons learned. He had his comedic moments at times on the show as well, if you watched it. And the guy who played him, actually, Robert Reed, was actually a darker character actor, actually. He played a lot of dark roles, particularly after the Brady Bunch. So, and he was notorious for not liking the Brady Bunch character that he played, actually, for many years. He didn't like the whole thing about it. And
being square, like he was
and it was just too hokey, and
too wholesome.
But I mean, Mike Brady was the TV dad growing up for me. I mean, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cooper, I knew he would be on your list somewhere. It was just a matter of where. I mean, listen, the quintessential TV dad, the TV dad.
Yeah. There still is one. There still is one that beats him.
There still is one.
There's still one that beats him. Yeah. There's still gonna be one that beats him. Yeah. But it was close. It was a close number 1 and number 2.
What are you thinking, Jess? TV dads. Who comes to mind?
So I kind of was like thinking about this because my last pick when I was on before was Dan Connor. So I was kind of like, that related to my dad.
Here's the good news. It's over next week, so you can give us 6 picks if you want right now.
So honestly, I went back to like when I was young and wanted to be Punky Brewster. And so her foster dad was Henry Warmont or whatever his name was. Yeah. And his real name is George Gaines. But he was such a great foster dad. So if I was ever in that position as a kid, I wanted to be Punky Brewster, but he took her in and they had this great dynamic, and he was so loving and caring. He was more like a grandfather figure, really, because he was older looking. But I don't know. I always thought he was a good father figure.
That's a super solid pick. Yeah, that is a solid pick below the radar.
Yeah. That is a good one. I mean, he was famous for the Police Academy movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I remember.
Was. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
But seeing him in that, that role was I was thinking back and I was like, man, he always just it always popped in my head. He would make a really great dad, or just a father figure, or a mentor or something. And so that was my pick.
Solid. That was solid.
That was a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Solid pick. I like it.
Very good one.
All right. Well, make sure you catch us next week. It is the number 1 TV dad on Father's Day weekend. So we didn't even plan it that way.
It just worked. It worked out, and then we're gonna have to start thinking of the next one already. So
yes, we gotta start thinking of the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, well. With that being said, it is time for our last segment of the morning. Let's see what our friend, who is it this week? Is it him? It is him. Let's see what our friend Pedro has for us this week. What would you rather? All righty. Let's see what Pedro's got for us this week.
Would you rather take a vacation to any destination in the United States or any destination internationally?
That's actually not a bad question. At first, I was like, who wouldn't want to go in there? But, that's not a bad question at all. I love a good vacation.
Vacation. Well, he's saying it the Spanish way. The V says a B. So exactly he's saying it, yeah.
But no, that's a good question. I mean, listen, for me, I've never been international. So I would take international travel.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, I could most likely do here in the States at any time that I wanted to, but going international, yeah, that's not a common thing for me. So I would pick that as well.
It's kind of interesting because I've done more international travel in the later years of my life.
Sure.
So it does take its toll on you, but with the travel, but it's worth it. As much as there's some great places I still haven't seen in the U.S. that I want to try to see, but I would go international because I know there's some other destinations we are planning on trying to go see, but we just can't do that a lot. So, but yeah, I'm going to go international as well with that one.
Yeah, Coop, I feel like that's a common thing, though. You work hard. You're not always, especially, unless you're a guy who gets rich early in life. But, I feel like for most people that like international travel, them type of it kind of start to happen later in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have more flexibility. The kids are grown, that type of stuff.
Or you have like the people who take like a gap year and they do like the whole nomad traveling, backpacking through Europe type thing. They get
Fred really just did it for 6 weeks.
Yeah. I did that in California for a month when I graduated college, and it's that was great to do. But I've been fortunate because my job has taken me to some pretty interesting places over the years. So
absolutely. So
I've lucked out with that, and then some of the cigar travel, which I kind of don't even consider international in a lot of ways. So
right.
Yeah, it's just it is physically tiring, is what I'll tell you as you get older. So I want to do a little more now before I'm in my late 60s because I think it's gonna be tougher. Yeah,
the big thing that we're gonna do, Kevin and I, we've been saving for his 50th birthday. We're going to Ireland, but we're doing like 2.5, almost 3 weeks worth of stuff, and we're like I said, I'm not a planner. He is, so he's planning the whole thing out. But I mean, I think that's gonna be a really cool experience. I wanted to go and do like England, Scotland, and Ireland, but we're just probably going to end up doing Ireland.
I've never done Ireland. That's something I would love to do. And I haven't done Scotland either. I've done England and Wales, but I haven't done Scotland. So those would be two I definitely would want to do.
I'll tell you, I got a friend who's been all over the world, man, and he loves Ireland. He said he loves Ireland.
A lot of people say.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. I don't know how easy it is to smoke in Ireland. I thought it may be a little tough, but that's gonna be Europe. That's gonna be most of Europe, unfortunately. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. My mom's sister is married, and her husband, his whole family, they're from Ireland. Like he goes back all the time. The whole family is over there. Actually, currently, like his kids are over there, but like their family is like his mom still lived over there and everything. So it's really interesting. I've always seen their pictures and stuff, and I'm like, oh, it'd be really cool to go to Ireland. So of course, Kevin with his Irish ancestry.
Yeah, absolutely.
To go. So
yeah.
So it's almost that time, but before we get out of here, you guys got anything going on today? What do you guys got on the schedule?
We're doing a podcast today, actually. I'm recording the Jukebox podcast at 5 today, so that's coming up.
Nice.
So we're doing trends in musical songs on this one.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
I will actually be going to taking my son to a trading card show. So
what kind of trading cards?
I'm sure it's everything,
sports?
but sports. But mostly when you get these big shows, it's sports, Pokemon. They're all kind of in there, which is
God. I'm glad.
I'm
glad my oldest son never was really into, because he was into Pokemon for a little bit, but I'm so glad that I missed that, where I had to go do stuff like card trades and stuff. Oh.
So my son is in it. He likes it more for, he's not so much about the players. He likes the value of, listen, I'm going to go spend a bunch of money on cards that will never get a return on the investment because they're never getting sold. But in his, that's what he's, this one, and this is a limited this and that. So
the hard to find ones.
Yeah. They're never getting sold. He's never going to sell them. And we all, he thinks he's investing in cards. Well, it's good.
I know we all collect, but we all collected stuff when we were kids, baseball cards.
Yeah, but I collected it because it was Ricky Henderson. I don't care what it's worth. It's Ricky Henderson. I collect. It was Jose Canseco.
Garbage pail kid cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we used to do something called flipping baseball cards, which is like kind of taboo today. We'd flip the card, and the idea is you call heads or tails, and if it was one or the other, you took your
you got the card.
You took the cards, and it would ruin the cards. Unfortunately, you flip them and they get bent and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but that was like,
can you imagine though? People doing that, they lose their minds today.
They lose their minds
today. If they lost a valuable card,
there's probably been hundreds of thousands of dollars of cards that have been destroyed from kids flipping cards. It's listen. Anytime that like I go pick up a Pokemon, just even a pack at the store, they're like, yeah, you better check them with them. You never know, there could be a $500 card in there. Like, okay.
I know my nephew is really into Pokemon, so I got him like one of the huge books you can put all the cards in, and then I ordered I had to pre-order, like it was like the silver pack. It comes with like over 200 different cards, and they're like limited edition ones because he wanted that for Christmas. Right. And I was just like, okay, like I don't know what the appeal is, but like okay. But yeah, my sister said he's so into it. It's crazy.
I bought a box of the 2008 Major League Baseball cards from Topps, right? And it's on. I bought it because the Phillies won the World Series that year, and it's still unopened. Right. It's still unopened. Like it's 17 years later. I don't know, and I like. People tell me don't open the box. I'm like, well, at some point I want to open this box.
I want to look at it at some point, right?
Right, exactly. So.
Yeah. Oh well, have fun.
Yeah, that should be fun. We'll see how light my wallet is after I get out of there. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for you fine folks. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Coop. Thank you, Jess, as always.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks. And that being said, enjoy your weekend, folks. And in the meantime, keep it